Hi, it's Jez from Nigezza Creates. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to bring you a video, a start of a sort of a new series, kind of linked to my using up my original ephemera. So I'm going to sort of call this Use the Whole Book. So I buy lots and lots of books, yeah, a lot of them just sit on my shelf. Probably not the only one. Anyway, I've decided I'm going to use them. Now, I liked this book. I loved the cover. £3.99 is actually quite a lot for me to pay for a book. But I really like the cover, and I thought that would make a nice sort of oversized journal, possibly. And then I opened it up and look at the colour of these pages, and I just thought, oh, they're yummy. And there are some nice illustrations in here as well. But I just thought, oh, I really love the colour of these pages and some of the illustrations. So I decided that I would buy it. Also within the book, I've ripped them out, were these. There weren't too many of these lovely floral pictures within it, but I really liked them and I thought they'd look nice in a journal. They're plain on the back. So what I've started doing is going through books like this that I bought that have these lovely illustrations, and I have ripped them out and I've started collecting them because I'm making a journal, and out of just using original ephemera, I'm putting this one in there, and I want to add some colour and some pictures, you know, which you know, a digital would serve, but I want to get the source from other places. I will do some that's a mixture. These are the sort of pages that you sometimes get right at the front of a book. Oh, those were illustrations throughout, but sometimes you get these nice pictures right at the beginning, yeah, and these are sort of much bigger ones. Anyway, the video today is not going through that lot, but that's what I've been doing. So I pulled that out, and then I pulled out sort of, you know, I snipped the threads and pulled out a signature. So I've got two signatures there that I pulled out, and this is what I made out of a whole signature. I haven't yet used the fly sheets. This was just randomly in it. I love that. So it's a nice little green sheet there, but this was the book. I don't know how old it was, because there was no date in it, and I didn't particularly look it up, so there we are. But yes, I can use that, so future project. But yes, so this is what I made out of one signature. So I made, that was out of one page, a nice little tall envelope there, like a money envelope. I might do fastening on that, I might not. Out of one page there, I made this many tags. So I've just put piano roll on it, so you can still see through it, but that is again using my original ephemera. And then that side's all ready for decorating. So none of these are decorated. This was the end. I used the envelope punch board, and I made this envelope, and this was what was left over at the end. So I made an envelope and a tag. Again, it's got piano music on it. I then made this envelope slightly smaller, again using the envelope punch board, and left over from that was this, where I made an envelope without using the envelope punch board. And then I used a page to make this like sweet bag, which could just be clipped in, again waiting to be decorated. And then this was one page, so half the page was plain, and you know, half of it was this, and I just folded it in half. So that's just so gorgeous, that colour. It's yummy. So it's all ready for decorating. Could in fact be decorated and popped in that bag, really. So yeah, that is what I made. So we made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bits of ephemera, which will go in a box to be made into something. So when I'm making a journal, I need a tag, or an envelope or what have you. They're there ready. They just need decorating. And I just thought some days you're not got much inspiration, so it's good to do something like that. So let's grab, there we are, one of the signatures that I pulled out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 double sheets in it. Now I'm just looking to see if I like any of the illustrations. No, none of them are grabbing me. Neither are those or those or those. No, I'm quite liking that. Yeah, so that is the only one that I am quite liking. Let's just, so that is my first thing to think about, is that there's a bit of me that thinks that could be a nice corner pocket. So yeah, so I am going to chop you down. So what I am thinking, where's my mini scoreboard? So they're pulling the big one in. I am going to, because I want it to be reinforced, so I'm going to just score down the bottom there. Quite brittle, this paper, so that is going to be the bottom there. I'm going to fold it over there, so I'm going to come up here, fold that across. I'm going to glue that down because I'm then going to cut, so then it's got a little bit of extra thickness on it. And I'll go down here as well, because that's not going to quite meet there. Pull that across, pull that across. I'll trim a tad down there so that we've got double thickness, and then I'm going to trim there. Yeah, so I actually don't need that bottom bit. No, you don't, Jez. Right, I'm going to just see. Going to make a little pencil mark. Oh, actually, I don't need to make a pencil mark. Look, I'll do it that way. I'm going to chop down there. Yeah, so a little bit fell short, but it's actually going to be fine. So gonna get some glue paper. So I'm gonna glue along there. Glue along there. And then we'll leave this to dry a bit whilst I do some other things. So it is slightly brittle, this paper, so you do get a little bit, you do get some cracking, but I just think that adds to the sort of vintage appeal, so it doesn't bother me. So that's going to be nice and sturdy. I'm going to leave that to just dry a bit. Right, so we've got a bit left over now. How much does this measure? It's 5 inches wide, so that can be an envelope. So let me cut 5 inches that way. Let's check it's 5 inches that way. Just about. Yeah, it is. Right, let's get me envelope punch board. 5 by 5 is going to make a 2.5 by 3 or a 3.5 by 2 envelope. Go 2.5 by 3. So 2 3/8 up here. So I'll just make a quick envelope. I love the envelope punch board. You can of course make envelopes without an envelope punch board, and I will show you how to do that. Can't actually see. Still can't see, Jez. I'm gonna. I can't see. Just do that. Marvellous. Marvellous. There we go. So that is. Let's fold all these over. And we can make a decision. So really that needs to be the top. So that's the bit it's going to fold down. Yep. Oops. That bit. Yep. Happy dappy. So we'll corner around that one. And I like to fold this little bit down here, so I like to do that. Do that. Fold that over. That'll be good, Jess. That'll be good. Right, let's get rid of you. Got a bin behind me. Right, let's just dab a glue there. You were working 2 seconds ago. Literally 2 seconds ago you were working. Do my head in glue. There you go. I don't know what the weather's like where you all are, but right now we have got a storm brewing. Well, it's been brewing all night and all day really, and I was like, oh, it's not a day for going out. And I walk every day, and I thought, oh, I did buy myself a little walking treadmill. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a treadmill day. But I had an appointment, so I had to go out. So once I was out, I thought, oh, I may as well walk. I try and walk 3 miles, at least. Oh, that's not I told you it was a bit brittle. Right, so I am going to get some surgical tape on that. Whoop! Oh, I just stood up too soon and I fell down. Yeah, so obviously I'm not a fair weather walker. Can rain or shine or storm, I am out there. And I was out there. But it wasn't too bad. So I've got all weather gear. And I just bought some water repellent walking trousers. So I did want to test them out. And they were fine, apart from the little bit, you know when you wear a waterproof jacket and it is really raining, the bit where the rain comes off the bottom of the waterproof jacket, and you just get some extra wetness then you get, don't you? Yeah, didn't really like that very much. So there was some, it did manage to get wet on that bit. But everything else was dry, so quite pleased with them really. Got them in a sale, £15 instead of 35 I think it was, so absolute bargain. Be good enough, because I will put actual waterproof trousers on if it's, you know, really slating it down. So yeah, so I got home, changed my trousers, and then I put my onesie on and my hoodie on over top of my onesie, and I've been warm as toast ever since. Matter of fact, I'm now feeling slightly too warm, but you know, I'm not complaining. I don't have any heating on in my craft room, and not because I am hardy or anything, but it's just practically there's no point, because I have loads of cupboards in front of the radiator. I was, you know, I couldn't not use that wall for storage. So it's like, for the most part, it's not really a problem, because the heat rises. It's normally the warmest room in the house. This used to be my son's bedroom, and he was always like, oh, can you turn the heating down? I'm too hot. It's like, yeah, but everywhere else is really cold. So, no. That's split again. Oh, well, I can rectify that at the next stage. But there we go. So, that's that. Let me... Right, I'm going to cut this now. So I'm going to follow carefully. That, and then I'm going to chop the bottom of that off like that. There, nice corner pocket, really strong, sturdy corner pocket. So add a little bit of, I don't know, lace or and a label, ticket maybe. That's nice. So that's our first 2 bits of ephemera done. Right, what else have we got? It's the other half of that page. Right, it's got quite a lot of the pictures on it, which I'll keep some of these maybe for stamping on, but not that bit. So I think I'm going to do, I'm going to fold that up like that. Yeah, so we fold it like that. Yeah. I can either put that on the end. No, I quite like that. As a margin like that. And let's do it without a scoreboard. Right, let's fold this down. Going to do a little notch there. Little notch there. Take these ends off. And this end off. That'll do like that. I think I'm going to leave the rough edge on it. And then I think because I like the way the top is, I'm just going to do a notch at the top. Might use a nice big 2-inch circle punch. Eyeball it like that, and just do a nice big pocket. That was very easy. So we just want the inking like that. Don't need much inking on this because it is such a beautiful colour. So it is a little bit brittle, but it'll be all right when it's glued down. Very nice. Right. That's going on the edge there. That edge there. There. Got that end of that there. And that is a nice little pocket thing there. to make I find sometimes with the because it's got all these pictures on it, it's I am going to fold this. I'm going to make a library pocket. So I'm going to fold that over. Then fold this side over. Fold that up. And then I want a little flat back at the top. And so that's going to go up there like that. That's that. So we have folded up the bottom, up again for our pocket, and then we folded back like so. So I'm gonna get those lines creased nicely. So I'm gonna do notches off those two top bits. So that's ready for the pocket. We're going to take this side bit off and this side bit, and then I'm going to take that bit off and that bit off. So that is the shape we've got there. I'm going to notch this top bit as well down a tad. Just makes the folding over bit easier. So that's going to get glued down, that's going to get glued down, and then we'll go around like that to form our library pocket, and then we can have a side tuck or a top tuck. I actually think if we're going to have a top tuck there, Jez, we're going to fold that down. Should have thought about this before. Well, I did think about it and I dismissed it. That's something I wasn't going to do, and then I go changing my mind. So just want to take those corners off. So now we can take down to there. I'm going to have to stop in a sec because I've got something to do now. So I'm going to leave that exactly like that and come back to you in a bit when I'm done. Okay, so I'm back. So whilst I was on Zoom for like an hour and a half last night, I decided to I can't just sit and do nothing, so I kind of had a fizzle. So another signature within that book I cut up, and let me show you everything that I made. So a couple of these images, so I thought that might make a nice journaling card, and I'll probably just I folded it over because it was a nice big margin. So I might make a pocket in the back of a journaling card, don't know. Anyway, it's for future project. I thought that'd be a nice tab, and then these 2 images could decorate tags. So these were offcuts from making envelopes, and I went through the whole book and found where there was like big, you know, white spaces, except they're not white, are they? They're that beautiful colour. So I've just stuck them on the back of the leftovers, so that's now stiff enough, ready to go. I haven't done the bottoms because I don't know how long I might want them. And then I did a couple of journaling cards as well. So that's the writing space, and then we'll just decorate the other side. This was another offcut. Instead of making an envelope over it, I did my own envelope. Now I haven't stuck it down because I might stick something on there for writing and have this clipped over the side of a page. You know, that's what I thought. There's a library pocket, so that's as far as we got, and I'm going to show you how to finish that. So we're going to have a pocket at the top, stick it to a page. So I made several different envelopes of different sizes, and that one I did stick down. I liked that image, so I've done it so that it can be a gusseted pocket. I think that will look nice. I made a coin envelope. I liked that image. I thought I'd keep that. And then there's all these little offcuts. Beautiful colouring on that, so I can stamp words on there if I want, or, you know, use them as part of collage, whatever. So those are being kept. So I really need a little plastic wallet, I think, to put those in. I think that would be a good idea, Jess. So this might be too big of a plastic wallet, but for now, because I'm getting lots of them, we'll just collect them like that. So there we go. So that was an hour and a half of just chatting, you know. So, you know, that you could do that whilst watching telly, couldn't you? So yeah, anyway, let onwards with the project. Oh, so we got this far, didn't we? So what we need to do is glue the flaps, the reinforced flaps down. So I'm just going to use glue stick for that. So I have had loads of fun doing this, because it's like, you don't have to think about it, because you're not decorating, and so it can be, you know, it doesn't require thought, so you can do it whilst watching the telly, and you know, you don't have to concentrate too much. Like if you're watching something, like I'm watching The Night Manager, and I find sometimes programs like that, you do need to concentrate. It used to drive Ed mad if we were watching something similar and I'd be doing something. I'm either working on Photoshop or editing, you know, writing blog posts or whatever. Not that I write many blog posts now, to be honest. And I'd miss bits, and then I'd go, you know, I thought he got killed, and I'd went, are you not watching? And I went, well, I am. And he went, well, you're clearly not, because you'd have seen that he wasn't killed, he survived. And I was like, all right then. And yeah, so you know, some things do require a bit of concentration. So you can make something like this without having that concentration. Now I think this one I won't do my thumb notch, because it could be a side, although if it's a library pocket, although you could do a side at the top there. Yeah, so it'll either be top or side, don't know yet. Right, so we need to do a bit of inking, ink along top. And I'm going to find a nice container to put these sort of things in so that they're easy to just pick up. You know, when doing a project, so they're all nicely neutral, ready to be decorated however I want them. I say this paper is a little bit brittle, so there is a bit of you know, tearing in places, and you'll find that with old things. Sometimes they are brittle. I'm use an art glitter glue on, gluing these side bits down, because this is going to have the in and out. And I mean, you can glue library pockets all the way down on a page, but if, like me, you're going to do it on 3 sides, so you've got a pocket, you really want that. It will just be glued, well, it might even only be glued on one side if it's a side pocket, because you'll glue there, there and there. But there you go, so that's me library pocket. Right, so I'm losing track because I've done so much of where we are. So we've got that there. Is that wide enough for a tag? Yeah, it's about 2 inches, so that can be a tag. And one of the things I did was I looked through of where, like there's a big space, so I can glue that to the other side. But I'm not going to do it just yet, because there might be a bigger piece. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that for an envelope. So it's just writing on the one side. That's got quite a bit on it. That can be an envelope. That can be an envelope. I like all the writing as opposed to the pictures. Right, so we'll put them to one side whilst I think about what I might do with that. So that will be cut off if I'm going to make an envelope. So where have I done with my envelope punch board? So I think envelopes are really good things to have, as well as tags. So that can be a bigger one, that can be any size. Are they restricted? That one's slightly smaller, so we'll do that one as the 5 by 5, and we'll make a 3.5 by 2, I think. Or should I do 5.5? Can I do 5.5? Yeah, we'll just have a little bit of that there. So that'll go in the scraps bit. That'll be for someone else. Right. I think if I'm going to do envelopes, I might speed this section up, because once you've seen me do one envelope, you don't really need to watch anymore. Right, so the reason why I used the trimmers like that is that what you find sometimes with brittle paper is it will drag it as opposed to cut it, whereas a guillotine will just cut it. I'm doing a different sized one here. I'm going to go for the 3.5 by 4.5 was my thoughts. I wanted to do a different size, but that's just what the paper's allowing me. Yeah, I'm gonna see how this turns out. I'm thinking about doing the envelope flap on the shorter side. And I'm assuming that isn't going to matter very much, because I can make sure it's the one I glue down. Yes, it will be glued down, so that is okay. I want it to go this way. There you go. Yeah. And my thoughts are that I'm going to do this so that the flap goes over that way. Yeah, I do want these on the outside if I want that one covering up. Yeah, so I am going to fold this over. It's not quite at that point there, mind you. I'm gonna fold this one down as well. Actually, choose a random point, or should I just go for? Because I want it to cover that bit up, so we'll go about there. Then that rip's covered up. All will be revealed, and you'll see the method in my madness. So yeah, so we'll stick these down like that, and that'll be the flap at the top. Yep, just a little variation and making a slightly different style of envelope. So stick you down. And you. I might just tear that bit off. So we need inking around here. Don't really need inking on that bit because that's yeah, the natural fading on the edge of the page is why I like it so much. I mean, you could get away with not inking at all with this paper, but I try and not ink. I'm going to do a no inking project, and yeah, it don't happen, does it? So I'm going to have masses and masses of ephemera waiting to be decorated for projects, which is the fun bit. And I know I really want to, I've got 2 royal journals just screaming at me, get me finished. So having these things already made will make that process much easier. And I think these old book pages will look lovely with it because there's so much original ephemera. Oh, I'm loving that envelope. That's quite cute, that. Right, so yeah, that could be a tag. So that could possibly, yeah, that could glue on there, and that would be perfect. So obviously I'd glue it on this side. So this is what I did when I had those pages like that. So this would be a nice size tag here. So I'm just covering it in glue stick, and I've got the option of, you know, sewing round later if I choose to. I do intend to do a bit more sewing, so it could be another, you know, not thinking about it bit of crafting is just get my sewing machine out and sew round a load of, if they're already made, that'll be, you know, really quick to just sew round things, and that adds such a nice look. There we go. I'm going to leave that to dry a little bit before I cut it down. So now what have we got left? So then we've got these two pages left, which have got quite a lot of pictures on. None of the pictures I want to keep. And I don't really like that look particularly. So got a bit of, right, so we've got a bit of so we've got writing there. So what I might do is have this as a finger open up, and I can just put something on there, maybe I can cover that nicely. Yeah, we'll have that as envelopes like that. Oh, I've cut it down now. I could do corner pockets. Right. Right, you're following what I'm doing. So we are going to fold a bit in each side, like so. So I've turned over a little bit of the top, bottom and sides, and then I have folded down the top and I folded that way. Okay, that way we won't worry about just now. So these are going to be, so it's a gusseted pocket. So we'll snip out the corners. Okay, so we want to take a bit off that corner there, so I'm going to just rip. And I'll just cut that bit there that I can't rip. So then we need to sort this bit out here. Go over like so. That's going to go down like that, and then I'm going to have it that sort of shape. So then we want, I'm just going to cut and not rip. It doesn't like ripping. Pop that top bit off there, and then get that off there. No bits will fold down there. That will reinforce the top, and then yeah. So that is my shape. I'm just going to throw out all these offcuts, with the possible exception of that. Although I didn't really need that little bit, Jez. You're not doing bad, but you'd still have a long way to go. So these two bits are reinforcing bits, so they can just get glue stick down. And then those bits will glue to the page, and we'll have an interesting pocket. Something different. Yeah. This one, I am literally going to leave it like that, because until I know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're leaving that like that. Let's cut that down. So I'm just lining the edge of the paper up, and there we've got a nice tag, which is 2.5, no, it's more than 2.5, it's 2 3/4 inches wide. I'm going to leave it like that. I'll do the tag topper when I decide how big it needs to be. So now I'm going to chuck that bit, because that's no use in a man an ornament. No, I've just mixed two up. There we go. Might do a tall envelope. Not sure if I've done a tall envelope, but I'm doing one now. That way. That way. Nice big flap on the bottom. Let's do that bit first, and then we'll decide about the top. So whilst it's folded, I'm going to go like that. I'm going to eyeball it. I could pick that up and use it, but I'm not going to. And then we'll just take these bits off like so. So that's now ready to go up like that. It's a nice little bottom bit. So the top's going to come down like that. And we're going to do exactly the same. So come in a bit. Try and eyeball it, measure if you want to, and then we'll take these bits off. Those corner bits can be used. There's quite a lot of that yummy colour. I'll chuck that one. And these. I'm doing really well at chucking, aren't I? Right. So that's a nice colourage for there, that for that, and then that will come down there. You can decorate that flap with something to make it look nice. Yep. And then we can have a little look at everything I've made. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue right on the outer edge and a bit of glue here on the inner edge. I need a little bit more inking on there. Go around the bottom of that and then around the edge of this. And then that'll glue down nicely. And that's a nice tall envelope. That would be nice in like a document journal. Yep, loving that. Right, so that is the last bit. So let's bring everything in and see what we've made out of one of those book signatures. And I have now used 3 of them, so I've got lots of ephemera. So 1. So a nice tall envelope, and then we've got a tag which could fit in that envelope. That's going to be an over the page bit of journaling. That's the only thing that's a bit wishy-washy and not actually made. A nice side pocket, an envelope like so, ordinary style envelope, one of those folded over envelopes, lots of envelopes, a library pocket, another envelope, another pocket, and a sort of a bag pocket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 things. So less tags out of this one. I've concentrated on making other things. So there we go. Oh, and then we've got this. This would be a tag. Let me just, I've got a bit of piano roll here that would fit. Fit enough of it, wouldn't it? Yep. Yeah. Let's finish that off. Don't have to go down all of it because there's some plain bit there. Although I could go diagonally across. No, let's just get it done, Jez. Right. I'm not so, but see, I can still write on that, although might need a bit of reinforcing because it's not as thick now as the other side, but there we go. So that's ready to be a tag. No, we're not chucking that. So there we go. Hope that was useful. So if I add that with all my other ephemera that I've made, then I've got absolutely tons of it. That's just 2 signatures worth of this book and a few hours of enjoyment. And there's a bit there that I haven't, a couple of bits there they haven't. Oh, this was one I ripped out of another signature. Ignore all that. So there, I am doing really well using up one book. There's still loads and loads left in there, and this is going to be such a time saver in the long run. So hope that was useful, and I shall bring you back for some more ideas of using this book. It's the cover I'm really looking forward to using as well. All right, bye for now.